Good evening and welcome to Bridgewater-Raynham Regional High School as the BR Trojans take on the Duxbury Dragons to kick off the 2018 season. I'm John Luck alongside Brian Berard. And Brian, the uniforms for the BR Trojans look different, but the roster as a whole looks pretty different from a year ago.
It looks completely different, and I'm telling you, these numbers are going to be impossible to read. The blue fading into red on a red jersey. It's going to be fun for you and I up here in the booth. And, of course, they've been soaked because we just got a nice torrential rain downpour coming through. So it's going to be a fun game to try to read some numbers.
Some severe storms passed through earlier. Right now, 73 degrees, a dew point of 71. And we do still have a slight risk of a rain shower here before the night is over. But right now, the 2018 season is underway, an end-over-end kick. It's going to be taken by John Buckley, number 2. Excuse me, that's William Lombard, the starting running back for the BR Trojans, who takes out to the 25-yard line. Part of the wholesale changes for the BR Trojans this year, especially on offense.
Yeah, John, all the key positions pretty much have been depleted. You lost Corey Sullivan, who went on to Assumption. Bryce Shaw went on to Navy, and you lost Devontae Graves. And, of course, you also lost Bryce Shaw on the defensive side of the ball and linebacker, and we'll talk about that when the Trojans get on defense. But you have a wholesale of changes, and, you know, luckily for BR, you have an offensive line that's returning, so you can rely on them. Because remember last year, John, when they went to play Duxbury on the road, there's a lot of question marks of who to plug in where.
So number 15, Anthony Morrison, the sophomore, in at quarterback, starting under center. Jeff Ciccio, one of the lone returners, back to the BR Trojans, as Lombard gets the carry on first down and fights to get back to the line of scrimmage. May have gotten maybe a yard pickup, if anything.
Yeah, Jeff Ciccio is starting to get looked at and getting a lot of attention from some Division I schools. Michigan, I know they had a rather forgettable game against Notre Dame when they had the chance to at least go down and tie it, but Shea Patterson fumbled it. And and he also is getting looked at by UConn, who also did not have a great game against, I think it was either Central Florida or South Florida.
So for the BR Trojans, it was another season where they lost to the King Philip Warriors. 29-19 was the final there. And you saw on the bottom, you see on the bottom of the screen there, 25 seniors leaving this team a year ago when we talked about it. Devontae Graves, Corey Sullivan, Bryce Shaw. So certainly some holes to fill. And right now we do have a player down on the field right now. That's number 65, Tim Brennan, a senior offensive lineman, getting looked at right now by Pete Smith.
Now, last year on the same field on Thanksgiving Day, we did get to see a look into William Lombard and had a good game. And, John, I know you and I, when we talked about it on Bridgewater Review previewing this season, you know, the kid had some special talent, but we also didn't know if that was a Brockton team that was really into it. But I think William Lombard's going to have a pretty darn good season for the Trojans this year.
So looking at the roster as a whole, and I think this was something that really jumped out at us, is the number of players on this BR Trojans team. A year ago, 2 years ago, that you could almost fill the entire paper. This year it's almost half a page as far as the length goes for the names.
Yeah, when you lose 20-plus seniors, it really looks like you didn't get that many in return. And I know that the freshman football team, even though last year they lost 2 games, both to Brockton, it seems like the program's starting to get smaller and smaller. Even the Bridgewater Badgers, who are still looking for some players. So that's something to look out for in the future here if the football program here in Bridgewater and in Raynham starts to get smaller.
So already one play into the season and already one injury as we get back to play here. Anthony Morrison on a second down. A receiver split out to the far side, or actually 2 receivers to the far side. Lombard in the backfield. Morrison rolls to his left, and he's going to take off, but he's going to get stopped again at the line of scrimmage. So really no gains here on the first 2 plays.
Yeah, that was some good edge rushing right there, especially Eric Proctor for Duxbury right off the edge, and they just pretty much swarmed right into the quarterback, made sure he didn't get anything. He actually got about a yard, so it's going to bring up a 3rd and 9 for the Trojans. Now, the interesting thing this year for the Trojans, and now, of course, the scheduling flipped. They get 5 home games this year. They got 3 last year. So it's going to really be beneficial to the Trojans with a lot of new faces here. You get to play in the comforts at home.
And it's a tougher teams as well that are playing at home. You have Zavarian coming up next week. You have Duxbury obviously here tonight. So 2 top 10 teams coming to the regional, which makes it a little bit easier, a little more familiar as far as the players practicing on the field that they actually play on. On 3rd down, Morrison play action. Rolls to his right, looking downfield. That one is nearly intercepted. Some good defense played there. by Seamus Johnston, number 10.
They made sure they had double coverage there on CCO, and he was around the 40-yard line. Would have been an easy first down if he could squeeze it in there, but with the bracket coverage on him, he couldn't go anywhere else, but he had to go short, and it was incomplete, so a 3-and-out for BR to start their season.
So it is going to be a learning experience for these younger players. Obviously, a sophomore quarterback coming in. Also, other players getting starting time that really didn't see any time last year.
Yeah, it's really tough, John, when you lose a lot of your key positions and you really have to get that chemistry back and you have to try to click all year, and you only get a short amount of time in preseason to try to find that. It's going to be tough for the Trojans.
Well, Prouty is awaiting this kick, number 0. And Prouty lets it take a bounce, and it takes a BR roll, and the Dragons are going to start from their own 34-yard line.
If the weather was a little bit drier, I think Prouty would be a lot more of a Duxbury's offense tonight. I mean, I know there's no rain now, but that field is soaked. And once there's a drop ball, the balls are going to be soaking wet, and you can only use so many towels before they get soaking wet, too.
I think we picked up probably maybe 2 inches of rain or something like that. We put it this way, we were actually huddled inside the truck.
Well,
most of us.
I was braving the elements here in the press box here that was not air-conditioned, and I saw that you could have gone swimming on this field earlier.
I feel like that was a you problem. The fact that you were in the press box could have been in the air conditioning.
Well, I wanted to have some elbow room.
Nonetheless, Duxbury starts out on offense here, led by their quarterback, John Roberts, who hands off, and now Prouty gets the ball on the end around, and Prouty is going to get a pickup after all of that of about 3 yards or so.
That was actually an excellent job of the Trojans defense. When you reverse the field like that, all the momentum's coming towards the near side, and then when you switch it over to Prouty on the far side, it was a great job to make sure that they kept contained over there and only held them, well, to about a 4 or 5 yard gain, but that could have been a much, much bigger gain for the Dragons.
A 4-yard pickup for Prouty. Should bring up a 2nd and 6 here as Duxbury breaks out the 4-receiver set. And Roberts on the QB keep, sneaks through the middle of the BR defense, and John Roberts taking off where he left off last year.
Same thing, you have that spread defense right there, that 4 wide receiver set. You're going to be a little thin at the middle of the field, and then you have that play action that actually Prouty was coming in onto the outside, and you figure, all right, this is the same play, we're going to give it to Prouty, and then right up the middle where there's no one in the middle of the field because you had a spread defense.
A 61-yard touchdown run for John Roberts. And just like that, Dragons take a 6-0 lead.
Well, just like last year, Duxbury got off to an early lead too, and Bridgewater-Raynham was able to come back. That's huge for the road team to get off to that early lead.
So number 20, Brett Souza, comes on for the kick, and that is going to be good. So the Duxbury Dragons, less than 3 minutes into the season, take a 7-0 lead against the BR Trojans.
I feel like it was less than 2 minutes because Bridgewater-Raynham still had a 3-and-out to go through, and Duxbury only had to run 2 plays.
Second play of the drive, just like that.
Well, if you're BR, this is, obviously it's early in the first quarter here, and it's not, not quite gut check time, but if you're BR, you have to be able to move the ball down the field. You can't have a 2nd and 9, a 3rd and 9 right here. So if you're BR, you have to get some positive yards, move the chains a couple of times to get that momentum going and that confidence in your favor.
Certainly for the BR Trojans, it might have to be an offense where you have those small yard gains. It's going to eat up a lot of time, but maybe for the BR Trojans, that's the way this offense has been built, and maybe it's the way it's going to have to be built here for a younger team, especially a sophomore-laden team.
Yeah, when you play such a young team, you're going to stick with, not necessarily high percentage, plays, but you're going to stick with plays that are more simpler to run, and there's not really that much, confiscation to them. Big words, big words.
That was like a 30-point word on Scrabble.
Oh, that's what I do.
If that was a word.
I play to win.
As BR's going to be an offense here for the 2nd time tonight. Nice return there for the BR Trojans. Again, hard to see the numbers here with these new uniforms. I believe that was 15 on the carry, or the return. If that's the case, then that's your quarterback returning the ball.
Well, we just have to go with our gut now.
It's not even the uniform color right now. It's because of the humidity. We had the fog starting to kind of fog up the window here. Oh, turns out I was right.
Yeah.
Sometimes you just guess.
You know what, though, John?
I'm learning from the Brian Berard school of thought here.
Even a broken clock is right twice a day.
Trojans starting out here with a split receiver set. Two in the backfield. Hand off to Lombard on first down, and William Lombard gets past the 40 up to the 42.
There's actually a great block by the center right there to open up a little bit of a hole for Lombard to go off to the right and move the chains for the Trojans.
First positive play for the BR Trojans here tonight. And a quick 3 and out to start things off.
You know, if I was the Trojans, you know, I wouldn't be, don't be afraid to try to spread out the field. Not maybe like Duxbury did with the full wide receiver set, but don't be afraid to run to the edges and see if you can get some edge blocking.
Austin Hartzell, number 9, lined up on the near side. A man in motion on second down. Lombard gets the carry, goes to the far side, gets some nice blocking and doing some nice moving as well to get the first down and then some.
There you go. You start running to the outside a little bit, get some edge blocks, and again, Bridgewater-Raynham moving the chains.
A 13-yard carry for Lombard.
Good quick math right there.
Took me a second. If you couldn't notice that delay, how to carry the 1.
Try not to do it without a calculator here.
Pretty hard.
Well, this is the first time that we've seen the Trojans in Duxbury territory right here. 2 excellent runs, 2 great jobs right here from the offensive line to open up holes for William Lombard.
Lombard looking to keep the running game strong here for the BR Trojans this year, as on first down, Lombard gets sandwiched there by number 50, Garrett Shackett.
Tried another pitch to the outside to try to expand the defense a little bit, but Duxbury only allowing 1-yard gain. Of course, in Dan Buron's offense, he loves to run the ball, so you're going to have to mix it up the middle to the outside, some pitches.
Just at first glance, it looks like Duxbury has a height advantage over the BR Trojans. So certainly kind of difficult if you're a shorter quarterback trying to find that receiver, especially in the middle of the field. On second down, Shane Fries, number 3, the receiver, lined up on the far side. Dan Bjorn's going to call a timeout here, as there was some miscommunication between, oddly enough, the 2 quarterbacks. You had number 9 on the near side, Austin Hartzell, playing receiver, and Anthony Morrison. They couldn't really get lined up on the same page.
And that's kind of a drive killer right there. You finally have been moving the ball. You just had 1 unsuccessful play, and then you have 2 players that really aren't on the same page, and that kind of kills your mojo a little bit.
So talked about the roster overhaul here for the BR Trojans. Dan Bjorn said this about the roster from last season. We're in a good situation where we don't have a lot, or we're in a situation, I should say, where we don't have a lot of experience coming back. We have good, young, enthusiastic kids, and we have some seniors that are good and are working hard. We're lacking game experience right now, but that will come. So certainly we're starting to see it here with Lombard getting thrown down to the ground there on that last run, but these are going to have to be moments here where it's baptism by fire for the BR Trojans.
Yeah, absolutely. And you feel like that's pretty much every single season in high school sports, no matter what you're playing. Sometimes you're going against the same guys day in and day out in practice, and you're finally facing someone new, some different techniques, and it's, oh my God, this is actually real game time right here. So yeah, for the Trojans, it's kind of a feeling out process. And the same thing for the Dragons as well.
Split receiver look for the Trojans here. Fries the man in motion, handoff to the fullback, and dropped. That one was fumbled and picked up, I believe, by the Duxbury Dragons. Nolan Anderson was the player who had the ball and then had a Duxbury helmet knock it out. It was recovered by BR, so talked about that timeout being a drive killer. That could have been a real kill right there for the Trojans.
It looks like he was holding the ball a little bit too low, and I couldn't see the number on the Duxbury player that got his hand in there and knock it away. But luckily for the Trojans, you recover it. And just like that, you had a couple good plays, and then you had one stuff play. You had some miscommunication, and now you have 3rd and a mile here for the Trojans. You finally had some momentum going. And depending on how much they gain on this play right here, you have to wonder if they might try to go for it on 4th down, because they may be in that questionable part of the field.
Just about 6 minutes gone in this first quarter. Duxbury taking an early 7-0 lead thanks to a John Roberts 61-yard carry. Now the Trojans facing a 3rd and 15. Morrison playing out of the shotgun here. And we get a whistle.
Looks like Duxbury is going to take a timeout. Notice right there they switched up. They were in a 4-4-4-3 defense, and now they went to a 3-4 on that play right there, but they had to call the timeout. Coach didn't like what he saw. Coach Dave Marin. Name sounds familiar, doesn't it, John?
Yes.
Son Sean played quarterback, and if I'm not mistaken, didn't he break Doug Flutie's state record for career touchdowns?
I think so.
Either that, he was close to it.
Duxbury Dragons looking for an 11th consecutive division title as far as their conference is concerned. The Patriot League Keenan division. Quite a feat there. 10 straight championships for the Duxbury Dragons. Certainly a well-oiled machine there for the Dragons.
And the hard thing about that is their division it's not the OCL. There's no 3 teams. You know, you have to beat multiple teams in there. So even though you do have a bigger division, you may be able to get away with a loss, maybe 2 within your conference. But in the OCL, you can't get away with that. Or else, if it was the old playoff format, we'd go to friendlies and have a coin flip.
I'm always up for a frenzy. On third down, Morrison to his right. And he's going to take this one on the run. Morrison trying to get some yards back for the BR Trojans up to the 36. Going to bring up fourth down, but maybe a little more manageable for the Trojans as far as field position is concerned.
That was a great block by William Lombard that was allowed him to get open and, you know, get a good run right there. And you're in 4-down territory right here if you're the Trojans. You're on the 36-37 yard line. You had some great blocks from the right side of the offensive line and William Lombard to make sure that Morrison could get free and get a huge chunk of yards right there. Brings up about a 4th and 4.
About an 11-yard pickup for Anthony Morrison.
I think he's trying to find Cicio on a lot of these plays, but Duxbury knows you can't let Jeff Cicio get wide open. We saw last year Sullivan and Cicio, they would connect so many times, especially on deep balls, and Dragons making sure that doesn't happen so far.
A 3-receiver look for the Trojans. Morrison airing this one out for Cicio. Cicio had a nice look. It looks like he maybe got tripped up on one of the Duxbury defenders there, number 27.
Yeah, just as I say that, Jeff Cicio wide open right there, and Morrison just sailed him a little bit. I know he had some rush coming in, so he probably forced it. He may have had about an extra half second to really place that one nicely for Cicio because he probably was going to run into the end zone.
So Duxbury starts out from just about where they scored that touchdown from. That 61-yard run.
If you're BR, though, for the most part, that was a good drive. You know, you move the sticks a lot. You got big chunks of yards right there. That's a good drive. You can build on that going forward in the game.
Lombard picked up 23 yards on that drive. Morrison 12 yards.
5 wide receiver, and now 4.
Roberts on first down completes that pass to Tom Landolfi, and Landolfi gets tripped up right around the 43-yard line.
There's a Trojans player down. Looks like he fell on that shoulder awkwardly when he tried to make that tackle. Banged up his shoulder or his elbow. That brings up about a 2nd and 4 now for the Dragons. And that's not what you want to see. That's William Lombard now favoring that left elbow. Looks like, actually, no, that looks like Shane Fry's number 3. You can't tell with these numbers.
Just the way the red blends in with everything else. Already the 2nd injury of the night.
Coach Bjorn's going to take another timeout here. Shane Fry's the senior.
Dan Barron burns his 2nd timeout already in this first quarter. So for the Duxbury Dragons, 8-3 last year, as I mentioned, continuing their streak of conference championships. Made it to the divisional final as well. Got blown out 35-0. Certainly not the result that the Dragons were looking for, led by Dave Mamarin. But it is a new season here, and the Dragons certainly clicking on offense early on.
Another 5-receiver set here for Duxbury. Really spreading that Trojans defense thin. You're going to create some mismatches here if you get some linebackers on slot receivers.
3 to the near side. Number 0, Prouty, closest to the camera right now. And Dolphy back with Roberts momentarily. Roberts looking downfield, completes the pass to Prouty for the first down.
Yeah, zone defense right there from the Trojans. You saw when they went into motion, no one really moved, and that's really a telltale sign if you're going to have a zone defense or a man coverage.
A 5-yard pickup. Prouty, as he landed, almost looks like he was looking for that first down marker and managed to fall right in front. Inside 3 minutes to go with this first quarter. Duxbury trying to get some final words from the coaches here. Roberts out of the gun. Landolfi, the motion man. Roberts airing this one out for Prouty. That one's going to be incomplete and no flags.
Oftentimes, you do see that a lot of times in college, actually, where you're going to the line. There is no play called. You're going to wait for the coach is going to see how the defense is going to line up, what the matches are, and then you're going to make your play call to your quarterback to say, this is actually the play that we're going to run.
First incomplete pass for Roberts. Brings up a second down with 2:24 left to go in the first. Prouty, the motion man this time. And he's going to go on the run. Prouty to the far side inside BR territory up to around the 48-yard line.
Joe, I'm taking a quick look here at the Duxbury roster, and I'm not seeing a running back on here. That's why I think you see a lot of these 5-receiver sets, and it's kind of like a running back by committee. I think they're going to rely on Prouty a lot more, and that's a rather interesting design, but clearly it's working so far for the Dragons, but a huge third down right here.
The BR faithful trying to get behind the Trojans here on a third down, and Roberts is going to hit the turf. Nice defensive stand by the BR Trojans.
Well, you almost wonder if that was going to be a screen. You had Tim Landolfi there coming out in the flat, and he was wide open. He could have easily gained a lot of yards, and that offensive line kind of gave up quick, which kind of tells you that was going to be somewhat of a screen play, but a good job from the defensive line of the Trojans to get to the quarterback.
Looks like Ryan McCallum had a big part of that sack on Roberts. So the first true defensive stop for the BR Trojans here in 2018. Lombard and Morrison awaiting this punt. A low, strong punt that goes to Morrison.
I think that came out at about 100 miles an hour.
Morrison up to the 39. And this is starting to be really bad for the BR Trojans here. Another injury. Now, we talk about the injuries, but with some of these, it could just be as simple as cramps. It's very humid. It's very warm out. Players kind of had to alter their warm-up times.
Well, that's definitely not what you want to see. 17, Jeff Ciccio limping off the field, but you do see it a lot of times in the first game of the year. You're going 100%. Sometimes you're going 110%. Sometimes if your foot slips the wrong way, if you get banged up the wrong way, you see these injuries right here. Hopefully it's just a bruise and they'll be back in there.
Now, this is a turf field, but still, when you absorb that much rain that we got in that short time before the game, certainly makes it really difficult and really dangerous potentially for some of these players trying to get those cuts or trying to land on their feet to make sure their knee doesn't buckle. But nonetheless, the BR Trojans head back out on offense. Looks like Kyle Duggan coming in for Ciccio on first down. Lombard in the backfield, gets the handoff. Straight through the middle, up to the 43. Good enough for about a 4-yard pickup.
If you BR, you want to pick up, at least 4 yards on every carry right here if you really want to get that momentum going. On first down, you really can't afford to gain 1 or 2 and then another 1 or 2 on second down, bring up these third and long situations. You want to get at least 3 or 4 every time you go out there, so you really don't even have to deal with third down.
Especially now that you're down a passing target in Jeff Ciccio. Jordan's going to have to rely mostly on the run here as, once again, Duggan on the near side. Morrison under center. Hand off to Lombard, and Lombard up to the 47.
Well, interestingly, on the first drive, BR tried to run it up the middle with no success, and now they're running it up the middle with plenty of success. It looks like number 62, Matthew Cady, their center, is doing a great job blocking so far for the Trojans.
So the difference early on is a John Roberts 61-yard touchdown run to give the Duxbury Dragons the early 7-0 lead as we round out the first quarter here in 2018.
You know, a good quarter, I'd say. So, I mean, the first drive, obviously, for the Trojans offensively is not what you wanted, but, you know, they started getting that momentum. You see it on this drive right here. And, you know, and you just got a big stop against the offense that scored on you in 2 plays in their other drive. So, you know, they're starting to get that confidence back now.
So it's going to be a 3rd and 2. Another short pickup there of 4 yards for Lombard. But like you said, that's all you need, especially at this point. For the BR Trojans, I feel like the way they win a lot of these games to clock management and keeping the other team's offense off the field.
Yeah, absolutely. But the big thing we have to worry about now is Duxbury will start with the ball in the 3rd quarter, so it's imperative for Bridgewater-Raynham to at least tie it in the 2nd quarter.
William Lombard already 31 yards rushing on 5 carries. Morrison 12 rushing yards of his own. Only 1 pass. That was an incomplete pass intended for Cicio. As the Trojans continue their drive into the 2nd quarter. Hartzell on the far side on this 3rd and about 3. And nice QB keep there by Morrison. Inside Duxbury territory, and a pretty sizable pickup, especially for a QB keeper.
Yeah, exactly. Another run right up the middle. They're seeing a hole right there in the middle of that Duxbury defensive line where it wasn't there on their first drive, and now it's there. It looks like Jeff Cicio is up and ready to get back on the field, so that's good for the Trojans.
Again, especially in this weather, certainly cramps is something to watch out for with a lot of these receivers that are running those long routes.
Surprised we didn't cramp up setting up for this.
I don't know if we have that athletic stature, but Lombard on 1st down is going to get met by a bunch of Duxbury defenders, but some way, somehow he breaks free. Lombard fighting for every extra yard.
That's why it's so important to wrap up and never give up on the tackle. You had him wrapped up by the legs, and you thought, all right, there's going to be someone that's going to help me out, and they assume, all right, he's got him by the leg, he's going to go down. He turns around, he gets out of it, he spins out of another tackle. That's why it's so important to wrap up and finish your tackles.
After all that spinning and moving, a 7-yard pickup for the junior running back.
That play is very similar to what we see so many times from A.J. Dillon of BC. I mean, all the time, it's hard to wrap him up and tackle him.
Your one BC reference for the game.
Yeah, everyone gets one. He's going to win the Heisman, John. You watch it.
We'll have that discussion another time. As Hartzell is lining up on the far side, Morrison under center. Going to pass this one here. Going for broke. Nice grab and a touchdown for the BR Trojans. Shane Fries on the 41-yard reception.
Looks like Duxbury brought some extra blitzers there, and it left one-on-one coverage in the back, and wide open with Shane Fries. A great pass from Morrison to lead him into the end zone, and the Trojans put up 6.
Not a bad first pass completion for Anthony Morrison.
I'll take it.
A 41-yard connection with Shane Fries. Now Morrison's coming back out. Is he going to be going for 2 here for the BR Trojans? Going for the PAT, rather.
Looks like Liam Stewart on to attempt.
Stewart's kick is going to be good. Just like that, we're tied up at 7 after the Morrison to Fries connection for 41 yards.
Well, Bridgewater-Raynham had been running the ball just so run heavy, and they only attempted one other pass since then. So Duxbury loads the box, brings some extra guys that play action. Everyone, and a great job from the offensive line to pick up everybody. And that leaves one-on-one coverage for Shane Fries. Excellent play call right there.
More importantly, like you said, you tie the game up at 7 because Duxbury, don't forget, has that first possession of the second half. Something to watch out for, especially as we wind down the final couple minutes of the second quarter later on.
Yeah, just over 9 1/4 left in the second quarter here. That was big for BR. So if you're BR, you can get another stop here on defense. Momentum, I think, is swung in favor of the Trojans. But now if you're Duxbury, the same thing for BR. You have to make sure you get 3, 4, 5 yards at a time, move the chains. And if you're Duxbury, maybe try to take off as much time as you can. You know you're getting that ball back. If you're Duxbury, it's important that you put some points up on the board here.
Tim Landolfi, Jack Jacobson, and Will Prouty awaiting the kick for the Dragons. Right around their own 20 and 10-yard line. Really no wind to speak of after a monsoon passed through. Delaying the start of the game by about a half hour. Strong kick. Prouty's going to take this from his own 10-yard line, and Prouty is going to get stopped inside the 25, right around the 23.
Yeah, high kick, caught around the 10-yard line. He sees that the coverage is coming down the far side of the field. He cuts it to the near side. Good job from the special teams to make sure he didn't get, a great, a chunk of yards.
As Duxbury gets ready to come back out here, great season for John Roberts last year. Over 2,000 all-purpose yards for the quarterback and 27 touchdowns.
I'd say that's okay. That's good, yeah.
Marginal. Certainly a very high-powered, high-strung offense.
I mean, Duxbury has been known to have excellent offenses, and they've just had a plethora of offensive juggernauts come through this high school.
On first down, it's going to be a running play up to the 30-yard line.
I think that's about the first normal handoff that they've had this entire game.
Carry was by Landolfi. About a 5-yard pickup. Landolfi actually is listed as a running back.
Like I said, I quickly looked at the roster.
Roberts on second down completes that pass to Prouty. He's a wide receiver and pretty good at it as well, inside the 45, up to the 41-yard line.
Great route right there. Quick little in-cut there from Prouty. Zone defense from the Trojans saw a huge hole and just ran through, got into the second level. Now they're in Trojans territory.
Just about a 30-yard play there for Roberts to Prouty. Three receivers to the near side on first down. Hand off to Landolfi. Landolfi spins out of a tackle close to the first down marker. Up to the 32.
That's why it's important to finish your tackle right there. You've seen it. You can spin out of it and get a couple extra yards. About a 2nd and 1, 2nd and 2 here.
Quick offense for the Dragons. 2nd and short. Roberts completes that pass to Prouty. Prouty ducking to the end zone just like that. 31-yard play for the Dragons.
Looks like two Trojans defenders actually ran into each other. There was another zone coverage there from the Trojans defense, and he just runs right through it.
So after the 30-yard play, a 31-yard touchdown reception for Will Prouty. As the Dragons offense looks like it's back to form after getting stopped by the BR defense.
Well, I feel like on that last drive that Duxbury had, they tried to get a little too cute. 5 wide receiver sets, a lot of wide receiver screens, and they said, all right, let's get back to tough-nosed football here, and looks what happens.
And with 7:50 to go in the first half, it's going to be a 6-point game. Kick is no good, 13-7.
Looks like he pushed that a little bit to the right. That could be huge, though, for BR. If this ends up being a shootout and you convert on all your extra points, you may have to force Duxbury to go into a 2-point conversion situation. So if you're BR, it's important for you to take the lead right here.
Last year, Trojans won 20-10. Prouty had 2 receptions for just 14 yards, but already tonight, Prouty 72 yards. Actually, nope, 66 yards, rather.
Tomato.
There was a 6 in there somewhere.
Yeah. A relatively decent crowd here, considering what the weather was just a couple hours ago.
This game actually got moved up a day, and we actually started a half hour later. So
yeah, you brought up a good point, John. Did this game start late because of the weather, or are we still early?
We might have to break out a survey question.
We may have to. And, of course, for those of you who don't know, this game was supposed to be scheduled for Friday night, but Mark Colombo, a former BR football player, went on to BC, went on to the NFL, is being inducted into the Boston College Varsity Club Hall of Fame tomorrow night, which Dan Bjorn will be attending. 2 BC references.
You already burned your reference for next week. Just remember that.
Oh, maybe I get one per quarter, and I didn't use one in the first quarter, so.
You used it for A.J. Dillon.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was the first quarter.
I didn't get one in the first quarter, so I carried it over.
It's going to be one of those nights. Strong kick to the far side for the BR Trojans. And their offense is going to start from the 26-yard line. One of the Dragons players a little slow to get up. I believe that's number 25.
Where there's no name.
It could be a problem.
If only I had my binoculars up here.
Had no idea you had binoculars.
I do somewhere.
Huh.
I forgot to bring them. Just like I forgot to put my windows up.
Car's going to be smelling so nice later on.
Yeah.
Well, a quick reminder as you watch this game that you can watch BTV programming online anytime, anywhere by logging on to btvaccess.com and our on-demand service. You can watch shows like 40 Sports Talk, Bridgewater Now, or Out of Bounds anytime. Or if you'd like a copy of a program of sport, you can download it right from the website. That's btvaccess.com.
Also, don't forget you can go to our YouTube page. Go to youtube.com/BTVAccess. You watch plenty of programming there. As John mentioned, Bridgewater Now, Bridgewater Review, Out of Bounds. And, of course, Bridgewater-Raynham football and Bridgewater State University athletics.
And let's not forget the world-famous weather reports from Jeff Fowler, as that was number 26, Tommy Mello, not 25, getting helped off the field.
Can't forget about Jeff Fowler's forecast. Legendary.
Good to see he was out in the storm, though, today, covering it for our viewers.
Yeah, Store Team 9.
By out, I mean he was in the front seat of the truck.
Well, he had a good view.
There you go. Jeff actually upstairs for us on the main camera tonight. As the temperatures start to come down a little bit, started this game off in the mid-70s. A split receiver look for the Trojans on first down. And William Lombard, who had a great offensive drive last time out, gets taken down, but we do have a flag on the play.
That was a great tackle right there from Garrett Shackett of the Dragons to fight off his block. Well, that'll help. Personal foul face mask on the Dragons, so take those free 15 yards for the Trojans. Move the sticks any way you can, John.
Pretty important for a Trojans offense that has been kind of hot and cold early on here. Take advantage of any situation, especially against a team like the Duxbury Dragons, one of the 2 top 10 teams you'll be facing over the next couple weeks.
Now 7:34 left in the second quarter. That's the first flag of the game, so a clean game. So for Bridgewater-Raynham, got to take advantage of this.
Trojans' last offensive drive, a 41-yard play from Morrison to Fries. Fries the man in motion. Morrison with a handoff to Lombard. Lombard trying to find a couple of open holes up to the 48.
It was a good job from Lombard to cut that back, as the right side of the offensive line there was kind of collapsing quickly. He cuts back to the left side that had some better blocks, and a 6-yard pickup for the kid. 2nd down and 4 coming up for the Trojans.
And officially here, 45 yards on 8 carries for William Lombard in his 2nd career game as a starting running back. Started last year on Thanksgiving for the BR Trojans.
Another Cape Cod Cafe Cup win.
Of course, that's how the Trojans are going to wrap up their regular season schedule on the road at Campanelli Stadium. Or excuse me, at Rocky Marciano Stadium, rather.
We could play at Campanelli.
They do it at the Major League ballparks. The ball was out, but the knee of Nolan Anderson was down, so still going to be BR ball. Brings up 3rd and about 2.
That's 3rd and manageable right here, so pretty much anything's open in the playbook if you're Dan Buron. Last time we saw a QB keep that got about 4 or 5 yards. wouldn't be surprised if they try to throw some sort of play-action play in here, because I think Duxbury is going to be probably loading the box yet again.
Number 7, Anthony Dubee coming in for Shane Fries.
Kid's got flow, John. I mean, he's got a set of hair on him.
You were waiting. That's why I waited till right now to bring it up, just like that.
It's like DeGrom hair right there.
Palomalu hair, maybe?
Yeah, Palomalu hair a little bit.
Rather, Fries will stay in here on 3rd down. Morrison, his knee was down before he took off, so.
Looks like that was a bad snap there from the center, and he had to go down to a knee to pick it up, and that's going to be 4th and inches. That's a tricky. This is tricky right now. Never mind. It's going to be. They brought it up to 4th, and I was like, all right, I guess I'll take it. But it's about 4th and 4 right here.
Well, this is kind of that questionable part of the field. I mean, if you punt it and it takes a BR bounce, then probably going to be starting off from the 20 maybe.
It looks like they're going to go for it here. But to me, I would rather punt it right here, because if you don't get this, Duxbury has a 48-yard field. Even if it goes in the end zone, they put it at the 20-yard line. What would you rather have, an 80-yard field or a 49-yard field?
Big play coming up on offense for the BR Trojans.
Maybe trying to get them to jump.
Pitch Lombard on 4th down, and Lombard, I think, is going to get the forward progress for the 1st down.
They are going to give him the forward progress. Gutsy call right there from Darren Buron to go for it on 4th down, but maybe that's just the thing that BR needs, just to kickstart this offense to try to take the lead here with just under 4.5 minutes left in the 2nd quarter, knowing that you have to kick off starting the 3rd quarter.
Lombard barely got that 3rd yard of that 4th and 3. As Brian mentioned now, once again with the BR Trojans, it's a clock game, under 4.5 to go in the 1st half. Dragons going to get the ball first to open up the 3rd quarter. Trojans down 13-7 from the 48. Morrison getting rushed. He's going to complete that pass to Fries, and Fries will get stopped at the 30, or actually the 28-yard line, because his knee never touched down. And great awareness there by Shane Fries, the senior receiver for the Trojans.
Yeah, Morrison had 2 guys right at his ankle, and he did a great job of getting as much power as he possibly can on it to reach Shane Fries and move the chains here. Now you're at the 29-yard line. Another zone coverage there from Duxbury. Good play.
So about a 20-yard reception for Shane Fries. About 60 yards receiving for the wide receiver.
Coach Marin's going to take a timeout here for Duxbury. He sees that Bridgewater-Raynham starting to drive the ball. Wants to get his guys back on the same page, because Bridgewater-Raynham goes in here, there's potential that could take the lead. I know it sounds like a broken record, keep trying to say it, but that's that important right here for the Trojans. Under 4 minutes left now in the 1st half.
And again, this is a very young football team for the BR Trojans here. A lot of juniors, a lot of sophomores, a couple seniors sprinkled in there, but nonetheless, we pointed out earlier, 25 seniors graduating last year, and a lot of it was, or I should say a lot of them, were very productive players, Shaw, Graves, Sullivan. So some of these players here, facing a top 10 team in Duxbury, certainly facing a tough test here tonight.
And it was a shame that last year in that King Philip game that Sullivan and CCO and Shaw and Graves all got banged up, because it would have been, I think it would have been a completely different game had all those guys stayed healthy, because Bridgewater-Raynham was really dominating up until they all started banging up their ankles. And John, as you remember, it was a freezing cold night. I mean, it hurt just to walk down the steps, because that's because we're getting old.
I'm remembering that night. Compared to tonight, I will take that. 22 degrees, wind chill of like 10. On 1st down, Morrison under center. Hand off to Lombard, straight through the middle for a relatively small pickup. About 4 yards or so up to the 25. Already Lombard's 10th carry of the night.
Good hole opened up by the right side of that offensive line. So Duxbury here, they're playing, looks like a 4-4, stacking that box, putting 8 guys in there. This is that area of the field where we've seen that Morrison can throw deep right here. That's in the back of your mind if you're Dan Buren, I think.
On 2nd down, approaching 3 minutes to go in the 1st half. Hand off to Lombard. And Lombard up to the 28-yard line or so.
Another timeout taken by Duxbury. They want to stop the clock as much as they can now because they want to see if they can kind of do the New England Patriots method, get a quick score and get the ball back to start off the second half.
I believe that's called a double dip.
We'll go with it because you said it.
Why not?
It's official. John trademarked it.
I think that's probably already been taken.
Yeah, well. You win some, you lose some.
3:04 left to go in the first half. And what's been a real back-and-forth game after a pretty slow start for the BR Trojans on both sides of the ball.
This is very encouraging here for BR. You know, you lost, as we mentioned, John, lost a lot of key players here. You're sticking in with Duxbury, top 10 team in the state. You're driving right now, have an opportunity to take the lead. This is positive here for BR. You have to wonder at halftime, Coach Barron's going to say, keep doing what you're doing. You're doing a good job right now, and you're sticking with a top 10 team in the state.
So it's going to be 3rd and 4 for the Trojans here.
Sorry, I'm still getting over my man flu.
I'm not even going to go there.
Really serious condition.
Nolan Anderson, Shane Fries, and William Lombard in the backfield. Morrison's going to throw it here on 3rd down. A deep throw. That is going to be caught in the corner of the end zone. What a throw by Morrison.
Perfectly placed ball right there from Morrison. Right in the hands of Shane Fries, it looks like yet again. There's nothing you can ask for more on that play right there. Once again, Duxbury stacked the box, brought some extra rushers, that play action, and a great job from the offensive line yet again to hold, and one-on-one coverage, and a perfectly placed ball for Fries. Trojans tie up the game, and there's a chance for them to take the lead right here.
So about a 26-yard reception by Jeff Ciccio.
Like I said, John, get the numbers wrong. Jeff Ciccio, again, whatever. I'll take it. I'll say you're right.
It's a receiver. Ciccio rolled his ankle over earlier on, so comes back with a touchdown, and BR will take the lead, 14-13, still 2:56 to go in the first half.
That was a great job from Ciccio right there. He's getting tackled in the end zone, survived the ground. We know this is a big deal in the NFL right now to make sure you survive the ground with the catch because we still don't know what a catch is. Although it's starting to become a little bit more clearer now, but it was still a good job to survive the ground here. And the Trojans take a 1-point lead with under 3 minutes left in the second quarter.
So we talk about how that was an important offensive drive for the Trojans. Now maybe just as important, a defensive drive or a defensive stand here for the BR defense.
That would be huge, but we know that Duxbury can score, and they can score quick. So if you're BR, you make sure you don't lose your man. Make sure there's no open hole, so don't break contain if you're the Trojans D.
Duxbury can strike quickly. On the second play of the night for the Duxbury Dragons on offense, John Roberts ran it 61 yards to the end zone. Talk about our game starting late. You'll be happy to know the Thursday night kickoff in the NFL also starting late.
Oh, why are they starting late?
Maybe they have some weather as well.
Well, starting off in Philadelphia, raising their banner against the Atlanta Falcons.
Prouty, Landolfi, and Jacobson awaiting this kick. It's going to be Jacobson from the 20. Finds a couple of open holes up to the 44-yard line. A nice return by Jack Jacobson.
It's a kind of a low wobbly kick right there and a great return. So if you're Duxbury, 245. Relatively decent field here if you're the Dragons, excuse me. So you don't really necessarily have to run a hurry-up offense had they been stopped back at the 20-25 yard line.
And we know timeouts in high school football are kind of wishy-washy, but still Duxbury with at least a couple of timeouts left in the first half. As I mentioned, this offense can strike quickly. Number 5, Cam Reagan lining up on the near side for the Dragons. Matched up with Lombard. Roberts on first down, going deep. And a nice grab by Leo Algayer, and Algayer will take it to the end zone. A 55-yard reception.
Yet another zone defense right there from the Trojans. He split it. Looks like two Trojans didn't really know where to find the ball in the air. And just like that, one play, and Duxbury takes the lead right back.
Already the third touchdown of the night with John Roberts involved. 1 on the ground, 2 in the air.
It looks like Duxbury is going to go for 2 here to put him up by a 7.
Looking to get that missed PAT back. Trips to the near side. Roberts has some time over the outstretched hands of Prouty. Prouty, it looks like he was kind of confused as far as where he was supposed to go.
Well, it's once again, there's 11 guys on defense right there in the end zone, so it's always trickier to score when you get down in the red zone. And Bridgewater-Raynham just set up, make sure no one got behind you. If they got in front of you, make sure you bring them down right before you got to the goal line. And still, that could be a huge play right there, because let's say if Bridgewater-Raynham goes down, they score 6. Even if they miss their extra point, they still have a lead.
Still 2:34 left to go in the first half. As we continue this back and forth first half between the Dragons and the Trojans. As again, it's going to be Lombard, and looks like number 2, John Buckley, and the quarterback for the Trojans, Anthony Morris, on the far side. As Colin Duffy going to kick this one for the Dragons. And taken by the quarterback. Morrison from his own 10. Fights his way up to around the 21, 22-yard line. As it looks like we have some mist and some rain showers coming back in.
All right, back it up, going home. Well, John, as you mentioned, we started in delay. Eagles and Falcons started in delay. Bridgewater State women's soccer started in delay. It just seemed to be a theme up here in the Northeast.
I'm kind of confused. What do we show if there's ever like a real rain delay? Do we just show old out of bounds, or?
Sure, certainly can do that. Show some 4Deep Sports Talk. You could show whatever. Jeff's weather.
You could go on btvaccess.com and look that up. That's what you call a nice plug, Brian.
Oh, there we go. It's like we planned this.
Scary thing is we didn't. Scary thing is things like that just pop up with us.
Like we said, a broken clock is right twice a day.
On first down, Morrison looking to pass here on first down, but instead he's going to go down around the 17-yard line for a loss.
Not a smart
play. About
play.
6 yards.
Not a smart play right there if you're Morrison. You see that you have everyone from the Duxbury defense coming at you. You have to throw that ball away if you're Morrison, because that's going to bring up second and about a cross-country road trip to get to the first down marker with 2:15 left. I mean, do you have a 2-minute offense here if you're the Trojans on your own 23?
A cross-country road trip is now considered as like 15 yards.
Well, it could be. For me, it is.
Yeah, I was going to say, we're getting to that part of our lives when, just getting down the stairs is a...
We are really just bringing the mood up in this broadcast right now.
I think that's how we were last year. Complaining, turning into, like, old people.
Yeah, it's a part of life.
Yeah.
Grow old and get grumpy.
So as the learning experiences continue for Anthony Morrison, I think that was probably the first negative of the night for Morrison. He's had a lot of positives, especially that a 41-yard connection, the 26-yard touchdown pass.
Yeah, absolutely. He's a kid that's been doing kickoff returns too, so he's a bit of a playmaker. I understand where his mindset was trying to get away from that, but you see that, you should know that there's really nothing there. You got to throw the ball away, but he'll learn that from that mistake right there.
2nd and 16, and Dan Buron's going to call a timeout. And we've seen it with some of these younger teams because, obviously when you have a high school football team, you're going to have these years where a lot of players leave, but you're going to have moments like this where it may be frustrating, but it's a learning experience for a lot of these players and the coaches as well.
Yeah, absolutely. In the past couple years here for the Trojans, you've been to the Division South section, Division 2 and 1A, whatever number they want to give it now. You've been to the Division South sectionals for the past couple years in a row now. And, when you finally do transition from, those senior players that you had a year ago and you're coming into these new players, it's a learning curve. And same thing with the coaches, too. You're going to learn what they're comfortable with, what your players' strengths and weaknesses are. And, everyone's going to be learning here. And you take that first game of the year. It's kind of like Bill Belichick here with the Patriots. A lot of times, he takes the first regular season game of the year and he treats it as preseason game number 5, just trying to learn a little bit more. Because I think Bill Belichick knows that you can get away with the first game loss in the NFL, but here it's a slightly different story. Luckily, we are in sectional play, so it's now based off a point system, whereas the old system was really you had to win your conference. But it's a learning system. They'll eventually get there. It's a good program. Dan Bjorn's a couple of wins or a handful of wins away from number 200, so he'll figure it out like he always does.
BR Trojans, since this playoff format expanded to 8 teams in the sectionals, have gone at least 2 games deep since it started. As on second down, I believe that was Lombard on the carry, right up to around the line of scrimmage. Maybe got a couple yards on the pickup. 11 carries for Lombard.
Brings us up about a 3rd and 14-ish. 14, 15 maybe.
We'll go 15.
I think if you're BR here, you can try and go for it. I think you just try to run it, get some more yards, so that way you can punt the ball a little bit further down the field for Duxbury.
As the clock continues to wind down to a minute and a half. Duggan and Fries lining up on the near side. Morrison to the near side, and Duggan got hit on the reception by Prouty. It's going to be incomplete, but nonetheless, nice defense by Will Prouty.
I never really understood that. You have 3rd and 14, and you're going to pass the ball. What's the point of running a 3-yard route? I understand that's a high percentage play. You may be using that situation to try out those types of plays when you get down where maybe 3 or 2 yards to go or maybe goal to go in some situations. So I understand you may be trying that, but I would have probably rather you try to run the ball a little bit more, get some more room for your punter to punt it more into Duxbury's territory, because right now the returner's he's sitting on the 49-yard line right now.
Prouty waiting this kick from inside BR territory. Give the Trojans credit. They have had a lot of plays that started out as nothing and ended up being a large gain. I think Lombard had one of those runs there. It was a 7-yard pickup where we thought he got stopped behind the line of scrimmage, managed to fight. So maybe that's what that play was designed to do, maybe make something out of nothing there and get a little better field position, if any. And talked about the learning experiences. Trojans only had 10 players, which could be an issue when you're trying to punt the ball and you have a defense like Duxbury coming at you.
Oh, they're just trying to turn up the difficulty level.
There you go.
Trying to get the style points.
I like the positivity. As the rain's starting to fall a little steadier here, with a minute 12 left to go.
Looks like Coach Bjorn had an earful for a couple of his coaches on the sidelines for that gaffe.
As you said, this is the first game not just for a lot of players on the varsity team, but for the coaches, a first game with all these players in real game play. Strong kick to Prouty. Going to start from his own 46 inside BR territory. And Will Prouty inside the 40 to the 37.
If you're Duxbury here, this is bonus content, if you will. You got 60 seconds left here in the second quarter. You're already getting the ball back. It's imperative just for Duxbury, don't turn the ball over right now. That's the big thing for the Dragons. Make sure you don't turn the ball over, because if you do, there could be a scoop and score, pick six, what have you, but that gives a little bit more confidence to the Trojans. So for Duxbury, goal number 1, keep the ball. And if you can put any points on the board, that's a bonus.
Duxbury will get the ball to open the second half. Looking to end the first half with 6.
As the rain starts to pick up a little bit here at the regional.
Jacobson splits out to the far side. Assuming that's Landolfi, number 21, to the far side. Roberts on first down, has some time. A nice, easy pass over the fingertips of Landolfi, and that almost ended badly for the Dragons.
Another 5 wide receiver set there for the Dragons. We haven't seen that in a couple of drives. And that was tipped up now. Luckily, the BR linebacking core was a few yards off the incompletion, or else that could have been easily an interception, maybe even a pick six, because there was no one in his way if he wanted to go that way.
3 on the near side. Roberts in the gun. On second down. Roberts to his left. Gets some protection, and he's going to run this one out of bounds with 46 seconds remaining in the first half.
Looks like both the tackles there on the offensive line for the Dragons collapsed, and they got some pressure, but still a great job for him to get to the outside and pick up a yard.
So the clock is stopped at 46 seconds on third down.
Looks like number 77, Owen Balzerini, coming up, favoring that left shoulder.
Trojan Nation trying to get behind its team.
Red Nation, John. Red Nation. Get it right. We've been doing these for how many years? You know it's Red Nation.
I was trying to rename, Brian. I'm sorry. Red Nation trying to get behind their team. How's that?
Well, now they're quiet because they heard you miscall them.
Landolfi next to Roberts. Roberts throwing on the run. That one is going to be complete up to the 31, but it's going to bring up a fourth down.
If you're Duxbury, you have to imagine they're going to go for it here. Even if you have a kicker with a strong leg, you're on the right hash mark and in wet conditions here. And relatively, well, we can't really tell if there's wind because that flag is drenched. It's going to take gale force winds to blow that thing.
I was outside just now.
But it looks like the rain's coming straight down, but that's still a risky call here. We're at the 31-yard, what's that, 54, 55-yard field goal? I mean, some NFL kickers can't even make this, so this is 4-down territory here for the Dragons. It's both 4th and 5.
5 receiver set. Roberts has enough space here. Throwing this one deep. It's going to be out of bounds.
He had wide open field.
Could just run that one out of bounds.
He could have ran that thing to about the 15-yard line if he wanted to, but he saw his receiver in the end zone, and that was a dangerous play. And that was actually a good job from the Trojans defender just to bat the ball down, because you catch that and you get a touchback. It's at the 20-yard line instead of the 32. But if you go back, you have to run that. That's a easy first down.
Almost looks like one of those situations where the quarterback was so involved in the play, he didn't really notice what was going on around him, just tried to measure the route more than anything else.
When I saw the open field, I thought he was just going to run that way, but he saw a receiver, tried to force it to him. But like I said, if Duxbury, the big thing there was not to turn the ball over. They did that. Now BR is 30 seconds, and you really have to get a big play here on the first couple of plays, or else you're just going to kneel on it and go in the locker room.
Feels like we've had about 3 or 4 possessions between both teams in the past couple of minutes.
Duxbury going with the 3-man front right here. Looks like they're going to drop pretty much everyone else into coverage.
Nico Carducci, number 21, was the motion man. And Morrison's running for the sideline, and he's going to fall out of bounds with 22 seconds left.
Even though that wasn't a penalty, I think a lot of players or a lot of people for the Trojan sideline wanted that to be a penalty, extra 15 yards to really get you that boost. But that just wasn't a penalty. Finishing your tackle going out of bounds.
Only one flag in this first half so far, and that was a personal foul call, the face mask that helped the Trojans out.
Yeah, I think, again, for Duxbury, it's going to be a lot of 3-man rushes, drop 8 into coverage here. It's really going to be difficult for BR to really get big chunks of yards unless if you have a receiver that just really blows by the defense and someone falls down.
Seen that on a couple occasions tonight. One by Shane Fries, and Jeff Cicio's also got some clearance against the defense. On second down. Morrison playing out of the shotgun, and he's going to get taken down at the 20.
Duxbury only sent 4 guys there. The offensive line, you got to be able to protect your quarterback, and that's pretty much just going to do it to halftime. No one's going to call a timeout. We're going to run to halftime right here.
Tim O'Neill was the Dragon that threw down Morrison, and that's going to send us to the halftime break. And Duxbury up 19-14, but nonetheless, Great turnout here by the BR Trojans, a young football team, this BR Trojans.
Yeah, I'd say in the first half, Duxbury's outplayed them, but, there's some positive stuff here from the Trojans. They've been able to move the ball on the ground in, some sorts of situations here and there. The passing game from Morrison is starting to pick up a little bit, so some positives here for the Trojans, but you have to stop Duxbury when they come out here for the third quarter.
Anthony Morrison, 2 touchdown passes. John Roberts has 3 touchdowns so far tonight, all-purpose touchdowns. And the Dragons take a 19-14 lead into the halftime break. We're back in a minute here on BTV. Back here at the regional where the Duxbury Dragons are up 19-14 here for the kickoff of the 2018 season. John Luck, Brian Berard here with you. And Brian, for the BR Trojans, we talked about the roster overhaul here and the youth movement here for the BR Trojans, but nonetheless they have hung in very well with the 10th ranked team in Eastern Massachusetts.
Yeah, absolutely. Their first offensive possession there, 3 and out. And then their next couple of possessions, they were able to run the ball efficiently, especially up the middle, and their defense really started to hunker down. But we've seen this Duxbury team, they've been able to score quick. But, for BR, it was a pretty positive first half that you had. But, it was interesting. We saw Duxbury come out early, and now normally when a team comes out early, they've just gotten an earful in the locker room. But it turns out they came out at normal time, and Bridgewater-Raynham spent a little extra time in the locker room. I wonder what that was all about.
The BR Trojans, their sophomore quarterback, Anthony Morrison, had a slow start throwing the ball, but so far 3 for 4, 86 yards passing, a pair of touchdown passes, one to Shane Fries from 41 yards out, and a 26-yard connection with Jeff Ciccio. And John Roberts, the quarterback for the Duxbury Dragons, has 3 touchdowns overall tonight, 2 in the air, 1 on the ground, a 61-yard touchdown run on just the second offensive play for the Duxbury Dragons of the season. As the showers continue to fall here on the regional. And the second half is underway. This is Prouty from around his own 10-yard line. And Will Prouty, nice cutting here. Still on his feet, off the spin move up to midfield into BR territory. Dragons going to be starting out from the BR 49.
It looks like Prouty, when he caught that ball, just was shot out of a cannon.
John Roberts unofficially 132 yards passing in that first half. A 55-yard touchdown pass, a 31-yard touchdown pass, and a 30-yard pass as well. Only 1 incomplete pass. Dragons opening up here with a 5-receiver look. Roberts playing out of the shotgun. Landolfi lines up next to Roberts. On first down, Roberts completes with Landolfi to the far side, and he's not come close to the first down marker, and I think they're going to give it to him.
It looks like that Trojans defense was trying to prevent a deep pass, and the underneath was wide open right there, and a lot of yards after catch there for another Duxbury first down.
So off the 12-yard pickup. Dragons don't look like they've missed a beat since the halftime break. Landolfi straight through the middle up to the 22-yard line.
Another missed tackle there from the Trojans defense.
14-yard pickup. Landolfi had 14 yards rushing in the first half, already has 14 here in the second half. Roberts again out of the gun, throwing for Prouty. A very dicey-looking pass in double coverage, but Prouty holds on to it.
Yeah, tricky throw right there, but well placed, and that was able to get another good chunk of yards, and Duxbury going with the hurry-up offense here, and it's working very well out for the Dragons.
On second down, 3 on the near side for the Dragons. Roberts gets the low snap on the run, throws this one to the end zone, bobbled and incomplete. Jack Jacobson, the intended receiver, I believe that's only the second incomplete pass of the night for John Roberts.
Hey, Roberts, that's actually a pretty good throw right in the hands of his receiver right there, and unfortunately had to kind of turn around and had an awkward body position to try to bring it down, but he had 2 defenders right in front of him. It was a good throw. Unfortunately, he couldn't hold on to it. Now it's third down in the red zone.
Just over a minute gone in this third quarter. The Dragons knocking on the doorsteps here of another touchdown as Landolfi takes this one close to the 10-yard line. Looks like they'll credit him up to the 11. Going to come close to the first down.
You know, Trojans are really struggling with these 4 and 5 receiver sets here for Duxbury, really spreading out that defense thin. But right there, they're able to hold him, and it's going to be about 4th and half a yard. Well, they're actually going to bring out the chains here. It's pretty close, John. I really wouldn't be surprised if they were to give him the first down.
Well, the referee was way past the first down marker. Again, we're very far away, but it looks like they're going to credit him with a first down by about the nose of the football.
Yeah, once again, this spread offense here from the Dragons really just giving that Trojans defense fits right now, really spreading you out thin. You have your 4 down linemen, and you know you're only able to get 2 guys in the middle of the field, and when they're able to run it up the middle, it's hard because once you get into that second level, you're really relying on the defensive backs to be able to converge in the middle to make that stop.
And we have seen a lot of throws on the run for John Roberts, which hurts the defense even more. On first down, Duxbury can still pick up another first down. On the QB keep, Roberts diving for the end zone. Touchdown number 4 for John Roberts.
Once again, you have that receiver on the far side of the field come in motion. You think you're going to hand it off to him, so the defense has to be wary about the wide part of the field because you had 3 receivers out there ready to make some blocks. He runs up the middle, as I just mentioned. There's no one up there, and another touchdown for the Dragons.
A 12-yard run for the senior quarterback for the Duxbury Dragons to make it an 11-point game.
Now it's really important for Bridgewater-Raynham on this ensuing possession to put 7 up on the board.
Brett Suzon for the PAT, and that is going to be good. There is a flag, so PAT may be dependent on this flag. Only the second flag of the night so far. First one was on the Dragons. As we have a meeting of the minds right around the 3-yard line. But nonetheless, a BR defense that has been tested pretty hard by the Duxbury Dragons here tonight. John Roberts, 2 carries, 73 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 2 carries, the 2 touchdowns for Roberts.
Did he miss the PAT again?
I think he made it because the official on the near side said it was good, but the official on the far side threw the flag and said it was no good.
I think they're going to rule it no good because they only have 25 up on the scoreboard here, and that would give them 6.
BR call for the unsportsmanlike conduct, and there's the 26th point on the scoreboard for the Dragons. So now Duxbury kicking off from BR's 45-yard line.
This one will probably be sent into the end zone. Whoa. And
that's a flag and a half right there.
You know, in college football, I'm not sure if they have this rule in the MIAA, but that's helmet to helmet. That's targeting. That player could be disqualified for the remainder of the game.
That looked very close for. So we're being told that he was hit more with a forearm than the helmet, so no targeting coming into play there. But we go from no flags to 2 flags on 2 plays.
That's a dangerous play right there when you hit the head of a player, and you know in football right now you're really trying to cut back on concussions. I understand your momentum's going and it's hard, and especially on a wet track like this, it's kind of difficult, but you got to do anything you can in your power to avoid that contact.
You have to think the players understand the conditions here, because typically after a play like that, you'd see some pushing and shoving and some yelling at each other, but everyone just went back to their sidelines. So really nothing more than incidental contact there, but away we go here in the second half of the BR Trojans on first down. It's a carry for William Lombard. Gets tripped up on one of the Dragons' defenders for maybe a 2-yard pickup.
Looks like that was Sam Heppenstall that got in the way, tripped him up for no gain.
Lombard 12 carries so far, 54 yards rushing.
Now if you BR, you just got a gift there from Duxbury. You have to get some big yards right here.
Second down and 10 for the Trojans. Tight formation in the backfield. Handoff straight up the middle for about a 2-yard pickup.
Once again, the middle of the field is not working for this Trojans offense. Duxbury is really doing a great job of pinching in and making sure that Lombard or anyone in the backfield is not getting any yards. It's going to bring up about a 3rd and 7 here.
Number 8, Patrick Blair on the carry for the Trojans. Brings up a 3rd and 8. As we hit the 8-minute mark in the third quarter. We've only seen 4 passing attempts by Anthony Morrison, the sophomore quarterback for the Trojans. 2 of them have been touchdown passes.
Well, I'm willing to bet you're going to see another one right here. Although normally I'm not a gambling man.
No. 2 receivers to the far side. Morrison rolls to his right, throws this one downfield. That is going to be caught on the sideline. Did he have 1 foot in? He did.
That's a big play right there for the Trojans to keep this drive alive. It's really important now. When the Trojans down 26-14, you got to put 7 up on the board.
I believe that was number 9, Austin Hartzell, on the reception. Just about an 11-yard pickup, I believe. So Trojans keep this offensive drive going and keep control of the clock here in the third quarter. Here's a pitch to Lombard on first down. Gets tripped up for a pickup of about 2 yards or so.
Looks like he wanted to go towards the far side of the field on the sideline, but a great job of that Duxbury defense. Keep him towards the middle of the field. Only allow him to get about 2, 3, maybe even 4 yards.
Trojans kicking off the 2018 season with a pair of top 10 matchups. Taking on number 10 Duxbury here tonight, and then taking on Zavarian next week in what should be a very fun game. Maybe even a jambalaya or 2 being called.
It may be. Jambalaya is always in the forecast.
On second down, Morrison escapes the pocket. There is a flag. It's going to be holding against the Trojans most likely, as Cicio has that pass knocked away.
Yeah, that's usually going to be a hold there. I mean, there was 2 Trojans offensive linemen holding the defensive lineman there for the Dragons, so that's a 10-yard penalty on the Trojans up and coming.
Typically when the quarterback has that much time, something most likely happened. And it did for the Trojans.
Once again, that's one of those drive-killing penalties right there.
So now it's going to be second and a long way to go here. 18 yards for the BR Trojans, 5:58 remaining in the third quarter.
Yeah, second and a long way. Second, not quite an international flight here, but close.
I mean, you said second and 15 was like a country mile, so.
Yeah, it is.
Is this like a half marathon or a 5K?
Very well could be. course, the Bridgewater Police 5K coming up in just a couple of weeks.
So see what you did there.
Yeah, see?
3 receiver set for the Trojans on second down. Morrison out of the gun. 3-step drop, and that's going to be the outstretched hand there of Kyle Duggan. As the Trojans offense looks like they're trying to force something to happen here on this drive.
Yeah, absolutely. That holding call, that's really, like I said, it's a drive-killing penalty. You know, you had some momentum going. You had the penalty. You had the big pass play. And now it's, 3rd and 18. You know, if you're Duxbury, you're going to be putting 2 or 3 safeties right around that first down marker. Just keep them in front. But it'd be interesting to see if BR does get somewhere near the 45-yard line, what they would do if they did get down there.
They did go for it on 4th down on their own side of the field. So some gutsy play calling so far here tonight. Again, a 3 receiver set. Morrison to his left, completes to Lombard, and then Lombard dropped it.
Looks like he either heard some footsteps or he was looking upfield before he actually fully brought the ball in.
There is still a little bit of rain falling, so it could have been maybe a weather situation as well. They'll bring up a 4th down for the Trojans.
John, we have yet to mention here, Red Nation coming out full
I called them
force.
Trojan Nation,
Yeah,
which,
Red Nation.
my
but
bad.
John, we have yet to mention that our national champion cheerleaders doing an excellent job out here out in the rain. Of course, what's it, 5 state championships, I believe, in a row. The gymnastics team, 2 straight state championships in a row.
Trying to tile down pretty quickly.
We are.
This is going to be a high kick. Prouty going to let this one take a bounce out of bounds as the Dragons offense comes back out to the field. And a reminder, BTV's on social media. You can subscribe to our YouTube page and follow us on Facebook. Just search BTV Access Corporation. Or you can follow us on Twitter and Instagram using the handle @BWTR Television. We'll have programming updates and links to the updates. And, of course, the world-famous weather forecast with Jeff Fowler.
Absolutely. It's really just,
I mean, he draws stuff now.
he does, yeah. We now have the telestrator for the weather. I mean, this is serious stuff.
Like I said, at least he was out there in the storm today
Still is.
on 1st down. A running play straight up the middle up to the 42-yard line.
John, you mentioned at the beginning of the first quarter that size advantage for Duxbury, and I think we're starting to see that now a little bit here, especially in the latter part of the second quarter into the third quarter here. They're really just pushing that BR defensive line back. But, of course, when you have this spread, formations here for the Dragons, kind of easy to push them back.
Off the 8-yard carry for Landolfi, and Landolfi's going to get a lot more here on 2nd down, taking that one up to the 41-yard line. The 16-yard pickup.
And once again, Duxbury in BR territory.
Picking up the tempo here on 1st down. Landolfi gets stopped. It looks like Nolan Anderson and on the stop for the Trojans.
Well, with the way that Duxbury's been moving the ball and being able to possess it, and they can take as much time off the clock as they want to. If you're BR, you really have to start being a little bit more active, trying to strip the ball, forcing these turnovers.
Trojans have 4 on the defensive line. Roberts going to hold on to it, and now Roberts is going to get taken down at the 39.
It's like Anthony DeBibe there with a great sack coming off of the edge. And that brings up a situation that you don't want to be in for Duxbury. Finally, the first positive play in a long time for the Trojans. Brings up about 3rd and 9.
Coming close to the 4-minute mark in this third quarter. John Roberts already 4 touchdowns tonight. 2 passing, 2 rushing. 4 receiver set on 3rd down. Roberts airing this one out, going deep. What a grab by Will Prouty.
That's just excellent hand fighting right there from the veteran player. He just wanted the ball a little bit more.
40-yard touchdown reception. And the 5th touchdown of the night for John Roberts. Makes it 32-14. And the PAT is going to be good. To make it a 19-point game with 3:44 to go in the third.
If you're BR, you kind of have to think about starting to score quick now. You're down 33-14. Maybe try to use some different plays that you haven't tried to use before. I don't think up the middle is really going to work for BR. Try to expand the offense. Maybe kind of take a page out of Duxbury's playbook here. Expand that defense. Try to make it run a little thin if you're trying to go up the middle, because if you're going to just stack the box, if Duxbury's going to keep stacking the box and trying to run up the middle, you're not going to really get anything.
Well, you said that the Trojans, maybe they should approach this kind of like that extra preseason game like the Patriots would. Maybe try out different things, try out different matchups, because you have another tough contest coming up next week against Bavarian. Then you go on the road for New Bedford, then all of a sudden OCL play is here where your season really matters. Of course, still 3:44 to go in the third.
I'd like to see BR try to get that passing offense going a little bit more, because then makes that Dragons defense think twice about whether or not to put 8 in the box.
This is going to be Morrison taking the return here, and the quarterback is going to get hit hard up to the 28-yard line. Something I'm not used to seeing here, a quarterback taking the punt return back, and I feel like at that point then you're kind of risking maybe his arm getting hurt.
James Fitzgerald on the tackle there, but John, they're young, they're in high school, they can bounce up. I mean, John, if we hit our knee off the chair, day's over.
I was waiting for that. Or if we just trip over nothing.
You're right, though. It is bizarre to kind of see that. I mean, you wonder if, Bridgewater-Raynham, we've seen their rosters rather smaller in years past. You wonder if Coach Bjorn is trying to shorten up his bench right now, or, maybe he can try to use some other players. Normally you may put in a player like Jeff Ciccio, but you may want to protect him because he's going to be such a valuable part of your offense. But then again, if your quarterback goes out in there and gets hurt, I mean, who's going to throw it to him?
We've already seen Ciccio roll his ankle, it looks like, earlier tonight, but he is still on the field for the BR Trojans. On first down, Lombard shot out of the field like a cannon here. Lombard fighting up to the 42-yard line. Good enough for a first down off the 13-yard carry.
If you're BR, you need more of those plays.
Carry number 14 of Lombard's night. Had 11 in the first half.
Not to state the obvious here, but they need more plays like that. But you need to play with a little bit more edge. I think if you're the Trojans, that offensive line, you have to play with a little bit more swagger, kind of get that anger back into you and be able to push back that Duxbury defensive line, because we saw in last year's game they were able to do that very successfully.
Hartzell and Duggan lined up on the far side. CCO on the near side. Quick pass to Duggan. A little too tall for the senior receiver.
Yeah, it looks like he airmailed that one just a little bit, had him out in the flat. Don't know how many yards he was going to be able to gain because he had a couple of Dragons defenders closing in on him.
Lombard's coming out here, and it's looking pretty animated off of that last play.
Yeah, it looks like on that big run, I thought he came up limping a little bit, favoring that right leg.
So, of course, keep an eye on that as Pete Smith's going to be taking a look at Lombard.
Dan Buron takes first time out here in the second half. Wonder if he banged up his ankle a little bit.
Well, it looks like it was one of those shoestring tackles, but maybe that defender held on to the ankle and maybe something just...
Well, sometimes, yeah, exactly. When you hold on to that ankle and you're fighting for, extra yards, sometimes it gets twisted the wrong way. Or sometimes, you spread out your heel a little bit too much. But, I mean, it really could be anything. It could be even just banged his ankle off the defender's helmet.
All right, so one nasty-looking injury on the first play, I believe, of the night. Tim Brennan, number 65, currently on the sideline on crutches. So certainly has been a very physical night for the BR Trojans. CCO, we told you, got injured earlier, but he is back on the field. Shane Fries also took a pretty hard hit as well. But Lombard's moving pretty well on the sideline, so looks like he'll be back in.
BR needs a pretty good gain right here on this play, I'd say.
Duggan in motion on second down. Handoff to Patrick Blair.
You want to get a little bit more out of that. That brings up 3rd and 6, a rather long 3rd down try here for the Trojans. So it's most likely going to be a pass so the defense can plan accordingly. When you really want to get those big chunks, when you get, 3rd and manageable, 3rd and 3, 3rd and 4, the option to run is also in the playbook. But now when it's a pass, defense can kind of plan where to be.
So it's a 3rd and 7 in the 3rd quarter, 2:32. As BR certainly needs some real positive plays here on this drive. Duggan in motion again, and we have a flag.
It's going to be a false start there on Bridgewater-Raynham. Again, the penalties, these kind of boneheaded decisions here, or mistakes, I should say, by the Trojans, really hurting them.
As I said, in the first half, only 1 flag, but I think if my math's right, that's probably the 4th flag of the second half.
Yeah, we'll go with your math.
Why not?
Seems good.
Yeah. If you say it convincingly, it's right.
Yeah, you just got to be confident. Even if you're wrong, just be wrong and confident.
I think I read that in a fortune cookie once.
Fake it till you make it.
Going to be a 3rd and 12 as we tick under 2 minutes to go in the 3rd.
Once again, now you're really in a predictable offense right here if you're the Trojans. So Duxbury, once again, can plan accordingly.
2 receivers on the far side. Morrison's just going to have to throw this one for the sideline here.
Delayed blitz right there from the Dragons. A good play call. Really had no time there for Morrison. Just had to throw that one away, and it brings up a long 4th down. Yeah, Coach Bjorn, you have a decision to make right here. I mean, 1:39 left in the 3rd quarter. Do you go for it or not?
Well, just going back to Morrison throwing that ball away, there was a predicament close to that in the first half where he ran back about 15 yards, it felt like, and he took the hit. He was very smart this time, threw it away. He's still going to be facing a 4th and 12, but it could be worse.
It looks like they're going to send out the punt coverage with smart call. I mean, you're in your own territory in the 40-yard line. You don't get this. You can pretty much kiss the game goodbye.
I believe that's number 11, Matthew Buron in.
Name sounds familiar.
I think I've seen that once or twice.
Yeah.
Strong kick. And it's going to roll out around the 33-yard line, but positive there. Prouty didn't return it. A couple times Prouty returned it. It was inside BR territory right around their own 40-yard line. Here comes John Roberts. And this Duxbury offense looking to put BR down and out in the 3rd quarter.
If Duxbury is able to put 7 on the board here, I'm not saying the game is necessarily over. But for BR, that playbook gets a lot smaller now. You're going to have to start airing the ball out a lot more. Again, if you're the Trojans, you really have to be extra alert. You got to try to force some sort of a turnover, get something going in your favor, anything really, even if it's a 3 and out.
Landolfi flanked on Roberts' right. 3 receivers to the far side. Landolfi on the carry. And Landolfi untouched up to midfield before finally being taken down at the 46-yard line.
John, I think you and I both, side by side, could have ran through that hole that Duxbury offensive line just opened up right there.
But as you said, this is what the defense's problem has been, the fact that Duxbury has been spreading out this offense, so you allow a guy like Landolfi to go straight through the middle with only maybe 2 defenders on him. First down in BR territory. Inside of a minute. Roberts letting the play clock wind down here, the imaginary play clock, if you will. Landolfi, the first down carry to the 41-yard line.
Yep.
Should be enough time for one more play in the 3rd.
If you're the Trojans, that's what you needed the whole game. You need a defensive lineman or even a linebacker to make those plays. When they get past the 2nd level, then you have to rely on the safeties and the defensive backs to make those tackles. That's really where they're getting these huge gains. So you really, if you're the Trojans defense, you need to get off your blocks kind of quick. But the Duxbury offensive line's doing an amazing job making sure that they can't do that.
So the 3rd quarter will come to a close here on opening night for the BR Trojans, and they are currently down by 19, 33-14. As looks like actually Dragons are going to have to run one more play here with 16 seconds left.
Well, what was that all about?
I don't think they were aware of how much time was left. Of course, in high school football, there is no visible play clock, but unless the final seconds tick off some way, somehow, just been a microcosm of the night, basically.
Well, usually what you look for is the back judge will raise his hand. That means that there is 10 seconds left on the play clock. And, you know, once you saw that his arm wasn't going up and there was 6 seconds left, you knew there was just, all right, let's just let this third quarter end. If you're BR, though, you need a turnover here. You need something. You need a huge play out of someone right now to get you back into this game. I'm not saying you need something of biblical proportions yet, but we're approaching it.
It was 19-14 at the half. Duxbury 2 touchdowns in that third quarter. It was led by the attack of senior quarterback John Roberts. I mentioned earlier, over 2,000 all-purpose yards last year. Has to be pretty close to 250 all-purpose on the field here tonight with 5 touchdowns.
Yeah, we'll go with that official number of pretty close. Trojans outscored 14-0 here just in the third quarter alone. It's kind of a thing that, you know, we have in baseball and softball is always to win the inning. In football, it's always win the quarter here. If you're BR, you have to dominate this quarter here if you want any chance of winning.
Well, we talked about in the past how BR is always a second-half team. They have that one drive in the third quarter. Duxbury hasn't given them that one drive. They haven't given them that extended amount of time where they dominate. It's been Duxbury very strong here tonight. BR has certainly had its positive points, but nonetheless, Duxbury certainly coming out, guns a-blazing here on opening night. It's going to be a QB keep by Roberts. Roberts, some fancy footwork past the 30 up to the 22-yard line.
You know, I'm noticing here that, you know, the tackles here for Duxbury, it looks like they're just kind of chipping the edge rusher, and they're converging also on the middle, which opens up these big holes for the running backs.
About a 20-yard pickup for the Dragons, currently on the BR 24-yard line. Friday lined up on the near side. 3 receivers to the far side. Again, Landolfi in the backfield along with Roberts playing out of the shotgun. Trojans look like 4 on the defensive line. Dragons just trying to tick the clock down closer to 0. Landolfi on first down. Going to come pretty close to the first down marker. They're going to move the chains again up to around the 13, 14-yard line.
The right guard and the right tackle there for Duxbury both pulled to the left side, opening up a huge hole for the left side for a huge run right there. That's a great play call and a great job executed by that offensive line, especially on the right side for the Dragons.
Again, last year, Duxbury lost 20-10 to the BR Trojans to open the season. So certainly looking for a little bit of revenge here tonight to kick off the 2018 season.
Well, remember the last game that they played that really meant something was 35-0 loss to North Attleboro. Think they came out angry?
A little bit. A lot of seniors on this Dragons team as Landolfi gets stopped right around the line of scrimmage.
If I'm not mistaken, I believe they also lost to Marshfield on Thanksgiving Day. Lou Silva's final game as a head coach for Marshfield. If I'm not mistaken, I think he's an assistant in Catholic Memorial, somewhere up in that area, or Everett, or somewhere near there.
I know there's been a lot of movement as far as the high school coaching carousel is concerned. I believe DiBiaso moved teams.
Yeah, he left Everett, went to Catholic Memorial, I think.
Three receivers again on the far side. As Duxbury trying to wind down the clock, but also trying to get some positive plays here. Landolfi trying to cut the corner. Ends up getting inside the 10 up to around the 7-yard line. Should be a pickup of about 6 yards. Well, Landolfi's 11th carry of the night.
Bring up a 3rd and 5 here inside the 10-yard line.
Nolan Anderson, number 44, coming to the sideline for the BR Trojans.
It looks like the Trojans defense is going to give some attention to Prouty there on the bottom side, on the near side, I should say, on the bottom of your screen.
There There's a receiver on the far side for the Dragons. Roberts holding on here. Escapes the tackle. Some way, somehow, John Roberts just got his 6th touchdown of the night.
You had a couple of Trojans in the backfield there. I couldn't see the number who got his hand on the quarterback, but you got to be able to stop him in that situation. You see that. You're able to hold him just enough just so someone else can finally finish the tackle, but he gets the score. He turns around and is able to get in.
So now here comes Brett Souza looking to get an even 40 on the board for the Dragons on opening night, and he will. So we mentioned that tonight is almost a learning experience for this young Bridgewater-Raynham football team, and they were very high-strung in the first half, but really the second half came around, and a team with a lot of seniors like Duxbury has, they just put their foot on the pedal. BR had a difficult time getting anything going in the second half so far.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, defensively, Duxbury has just strangled the Trojans' offense, just preventing them from getting anything going, and even giving them a couple of penalties, too, to help out. But, and I mean, BR, you keep running the same play over and over again. You just stack the backfield. You run up the middle. Eventually, Duxbury's going to figure it out. They stack the box. Now, if you're BR, you're going to have to start spreading out that offense. I'm not saying you have to use a 5 wide receiver set, but maybe start using a lot more 3 wide receiver sets and try to get anything going for the Trojans.
Red Nation still getting behind their team. And so looking to try and add some more points on the board before the night's over. This is going to be taken from the 15-yard line. I believe that's Fries on the return. Again, if you're just joining us, BR breaking out some new uniforms. I mean, they look nice if you're down on the field or watching the game in person, but if you're watching the game through a window, it makes it kind of difficult to read the numbers.
Yeah, we've made that mistake plenty of times tonight, John.
We made that mistake when they had the red and white jerseys. I mean, when it was really easy to see.
We don't want to tell people that, though.
No?
No.
So you're saying I just let the cat out of the bag, Brian?
Yeah, you did.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, that was poor job on our part.
Yeah, live and you learn. Sometimes the first game for an announcer for the season.
Yeah, it's a learning process for us, too, you know?
Even though we've been doing this for, what, 10 years almost?
Maybe.
Yeah. On first down, this is going to be a handoff. I believe that was number 25 on the carry, and if it was, that's Brian Merlino, a junior, as we start to see some new faces coming in here for the BR Trojans tonight.
John, if I can recall, I think the first game I ever did with you here was back in 2010, and I think it was Plymouth South that came here. It was Yumi and Skip Crossman on the call.
I'm amazed you're able to remember that.
Don't ask me basic math, but I'll know that.
So random trivia, I'll turn to you.
I am a trivia champion here.
On second down, going deep. That one was almost caught and intercepted at the same time, but going to be incomplete.
You know, if you're Morrison, you have to lead them a little bit more. I know it's a deep ball on a wet night, and that's a tricky throw. And if you're the Trojans, you need to start taking big chances like that. And, you know, even though you only had 6 yards to go, you didn't really necessarily have to throw it 20 yards down the field. For BR, you need to start gaining yards. You need to start gaining them quick and in big chunks.
Again, if you're just joining us, we at the start of this game, delayed by a half hour, had a severe storm pass through, and really through the night we've had off and on showers, and we still have some showers and some mist coming down, so certainly makes the passing game a little difficult, especially for a quarterback just coming into the varsity team like Anthony Morrison. Morrison and Hartzell, the 2 quarterbacks on the roster for the Trojans. Last year had Corey Sullivan and Jules Wiggins in under center for the Trojans. On third down, Morrison going to throw this one again, but Cicio is underneath for the carry, very close to the first down marker.
Even if you're short of BR, you're in 4-down territory no matter where you are on the field. And they'll give him the first down. And if you're BR here, you're down 40-14. You got to see a little pep in the step here.
That's Cicio's second reception of the night. Had a 26-yard touchdown reception back in the first half. Fry's lining up on the far side. And Nico Carucci on the near side. Here's a pitch on first down to Merlino, and Merlino's going to get stuffed by 3 defenders.
All right, so the whole second half, the run really just has been working for the Trojans. Maybe start thinking about passing, even short passing. I mean, we see so many times in the professional level with the New England Patriots, it's that death by 1,000 paper cuts. You know, throw a lot of wide receiver screens, throw these 3-yard in cuts, something like that. Maybe you get a yard after catch, you get missed tackle, go on from there. I think if you're the Trojans, you have to start changing things up because Duxbury, they're just going to keep putting 7 or 8 in the box, and they're very aggressive defensively, and they're making sure that they're not getting really any big yards.
Approaching 5.5 to go in the fourth quarter. And what has been a long night for the BR Trojans. Morrison's going to throw for Cicio, looking to get the reception, got tripped up. That one was nearly intercepted, I believe, for the second time on this drive. Sam Heppenstall, number 15.
It looks like
Cicio.
Cicio got turned around a little bit there trying to find the ball. Didn't quite know what shoulder to catch it over. It's kind of like an outfielder in baseball. You know, the ball's tailing away from you. You really don't know what shoulder to try and get it on. And as soon as you get turned around, you know there's about a 0% chance you're going to catch it. A lot of baseball references tonight. That's about 2 or 3 maybe.
Baseball references, BC references. I mean, you missed your third quarter reference, so you only have like 5 minutes left to go to try and get another one.
Yeah, I really got to catch up as Dan Bjorn takes another timeout. I mean, if you want to, I mean, there's a reason why there's been some more softball references. I mean, if you want me to mention it, John, I'm now a champion slow-pitch softball player here, so not to toot my own horn. John's
40 to 14 in the fourth quarter. Congratulations, Brian, on winning a softball league.
It's about time. Let's say third time's the charm. It's my 3rd year in the league, so.
It was about time you won something. Is that what you're saying?
I got a couple rings.
I really don't know if we should be going into this for this game, or maybe we'll save that for another game.
Yeah, maybe we'll save that for another game. My financial decisions.
Well, you can listen to fine banter like this on anytime, anywhere at btvaccess.com.
Of course, we're really revamping our YouTube page, putting a lot more programming on there. We also, new thing, if you haven't checked out BTV in a while, we actually changed up our channels a little bit. We got scores on the bottom part of your screen, weather on the part of your screen, upcoming schedules for sports, town council, school committee, all that sorts of stuff. So you really haven't had the chance to check it out. You really should.
On first down, Morrison's going to run for the sideline and was getting ripped down and then got knocked down for about a 2 or 3 yard pickup, but
that was actually a great play right there from the Dragons, keeping him in bounds, keeping that clock going. We're now approaching the 5-minute mark of the fourth quarter, and now you really do need something of biblical proportions right here if you're the Trojans down 40 to 14.
Just to quickly touch on that programming reminder you're talking about, most of the school programming and programming from the university you can watch on Channel 98. Channel 22 is your government channel. Channel 9 really has everything that you need around the community.
A smorgasbord.
There you go. I was going to say that, but I didn't know if I wanted to take the risk.
Risk reward.
There you go.
It's a pretty cool thing that, you have, always have your Bridgewater weather right there, Bridgewater scores, schedules, subcommittee meetings that you want to go check out. Really, it's all right there.
And, of course, you can volunteer and help out here at BTV, as we've had a lot of cool experiences of our time here volunteering for the studio.
Yeah, absolutely. We get to go to cool places. Not John, though. He decides to get sick when we have to go to these big places. But, of course, every year the Central Atlantic Collegiate Conference invites us down. But John decided to get the sniffles that week and miss out on a fun trip to Philadelphia and watch a blizzard go by.
Just a severe case of pneumonia, but, whatever helps
John,
you.
I'm fighting through a man flu right now. I'm here.
Thank you for coming out in your pink shirt tonight, Brian.
Magenta. No, but yeah, it's absolutely, John, just an actual serious point, though. I mean, the cool stuff that we get to do at BTV, it really is second to none. So if you're interested in volunteering, you got plenty of email addresses to hit us up at and call the studio. Some cool stuff.
Been able to see the BR Trojans at Gillette Stadium a couple years in a row at the Super Bowl.
Oh, yeah, one time in a blizzard. That was good.
I think that might be one of the better moments. We got to call a Snow Bowl at Gillette Stadium.
Actually, I was not part of the broadcast at that time.
That's why I remember that.
Oh, well then.
Well, Prouty awaiting the punt here on 4th down from the Trojans with 4:11 to go in the 4th quarter. Very high, booming kick, and Prouty's going to let this one bounce out right around the 20.
That's a very good punt right there. Kick it away from Prouty. Force him into 80, 79-yard-ish field.
So you're seeing quite the kickoff to 2018 for the Dragons here. John Roberts, 6 touchdowns tonight. Certainly a very tough night for the BR Trojans, but you live and you learn, especially on a team like this that most likely going to be hanging around each other for the next 2 to 3 years.
Yeah, absolutely, and give all the credits due. John Roberts there with 6 touchdowns tonight for Duxbury. MVP-type performance. They're a top 10 team in the state for a reason. Once again, I think you're going to see Duxbury getting pretty close to Gillette Stadium if they don't get back there yet again.
And we have a flag on 1st down.
Looks like there's going to be a false start here, and it is.
Trojans next week take on Xaverian, followed by the New Bedford Whalers on the road before coming back home to take on Dartmouth to kick off OCL play to kick off October. In a very brief regular season.
Yeah, the season just gets going by quick.
It's almost like a college football season. You start week 1, then all of a sudden, bam, the playoffs are here.
I feel like that's any football season, really. Of course, the college football started a few weeks ago. I mean, the official week 1 was last week, but you had some other week 0.5, I guess, in college football.
A week 0.5.
Week 0.5. I mean, UMass beating Duquesne, which got them the number 1 seed in the college football playoff had it ended that day.
The 4 receivers set on 1st down. One of the Trojans lost their helmet.
That's a dangerous play. He was in on that tackle, too. Luckily, he didn't get landed on. That looks like that could have been CCO.
Yeah, CCO.
Believe that it was. That's a really dangerous play right there. Luckily, he's okay. Now, of course, he has to miss one play because his helmet came off. But of course, UMass their next week got destroyed by BC, so that took them out of the top 4.
There's your 4th
took them out of the
reference.
top. That's going to be a tough one to come back from. I don't know if they can get back in the top 4. They go down to Georgia at the end of the year.
On 2nd down, carry off tackle for number 42.
Ian McLeod. Good Scottish name.
Next week, Duxbury kicks off their home schedule, taking on Scituate, followed by a couple road games, Plymouth North and Whitman-Hanson. Looking for an 11th straight conference division crown, the Patriot League Keenan division.
If I'm not mistaken, I believe East Bridgewater last year in their final game of the year defeated Scituate to get into the playoffs and then got destroyed by Scituate in the first round of the play. It was either Scituate or Norwell. It's one of those two teams. Now that I'm thinking about it, it seems more right that it was Norwell. Just disregard. Pretend I didn't say it.
On 3rd down, this is a carry to the sideline by number 9, Ryan Prudente.
Good job staying in bounds. Keep that clock running.
It's going to take us under 2 minutes to go. Of course, a very tough night weather-wise, and we have a lot of people here helping us out tonight. Have Nick Allende, Scott Olson, Mary Evers, Mike Moriello, Jeff Fowler, Megan Stanovich. Am I forgetting anybody? Nick.
I think you got everyone. There's you and me. We were supposed to be joined by Dom Damiano, but he decided to pull with John Luck and just not show up.
You can watch shows like 4 Deep Sports Talk.
Also listen to 4 Deep Sports Talk on Saturdays and 1320 a.m. WARA. I have the pleasure of occasionally joining Dom.
It's nice to see when you can show up once in a while, Brian.
It happens. Ooh.
That's going to be a weird kick by Prouty.
Ooh,
and taken down very hard.
Good form tackle right there.
Number 20, Anthony Renteria with the attempted return.
Michael McCutcheon there with the tackle for the Dragons.
So we are looking to round out the final minute 18. A night when I think a lot of the players learned that to face a team like the Duxbury Dragons, it's great to hang around for the first half, but to get a win, you have to play a full 4 quarters.
Yeah, at this point, if you're the Trojans, you know the game has been lost. At this point, if you're Coach Bjorn and the coaching staff of the Trojans, you want to see who actually has that energy and that effort that they're still giving, who hasn't given up on this game. Because you see with a lot of young players, they get down by this big margin. You know you're going to lose the game. Sometimes you have the tendencies to just shrug your shoulders. Your head's kind of out of it. You really want to looking for those players that are going to give that effort right now.
So a night like this, a lot of times you refer to it as a burn the tape type of game. But tonight is the night where you save the tape, where you study the tape, especially from a coaching standpoint here, trying to figure out which players you can rely on as you go through the season, taking on teams like your OCL foes, like Asvarian as well.
Well put. Well put.
I try. On first down, we have a new quarterback, and he completes a pass to number 23, Greg Molesky. It's going to be Austin Hartzell in at quarterback. I believe the son of Mark Hartzell, one of the assistant coaches for the Trojans.
Yeah, getting some new faces in there for Coach Bjorn, seeing what you have.
Again, a brand new quarterback tandem from what we saw a year ago. Corey Sullivan was the starter. Jules Wiggins was the backup quarterback, but both quarterbacks have since left BR. John Buckley, number 2, lining up on the near side. On second down from BR's 45. And up, straight up the middle, I believe that's Merlino with the carry. And that's going to do it here, as Duxbury going to get win number 1 on the season via the 40-14 final. And Brian, this is a tough loss for the Trojans on the scoreboard, but a night, I think, where you learn a lot more about this football team.
Yeah, absolutely. It's the first game of the year. You have a lot of positional, key position players that had moved on, as we've mentioned several times, and you found out what you had. I mean, BR, they had a good game going into the first half, and it was 19-14 at one point, and of course you got 40-14 as your final score. Outscored 21-0 here in the second half, but you learned what you had, and you can work on some things, and you went against probably a easily Super Bowl contending team in the Duxbury Dragons.
Well, it doesn't get any easier next week. The Trojans take on Zavarian. BR falls to 0-1. Duxbury starts the season off at 1-0. That'll do it for us here from the regional tonight, as Duxbury gets the 40-14 victory. For Brian Berard and everybody behind the scenes here at BTV, I'm John Luck. Thanks for watching.